Hey guys, welcome back to the channel where we're checking out a video that was recommended by Gruff, Phil's Gruff. Wow, the pronunciation is so different from the spelling because obviously it's German. But yeah, we're checking out the video that was recommended. It is titled "All About Unimogs." Old and new Mogs driven. So we're gonna jump right into this video because I don't really know much about the Unimogs. Just know that it's like has a Mercedes logo on it and it's coming from the Auto Car YouTube channel. So we're gonna just jump right into this video and learn something about German engineering with cars, I'm guessing. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump right into it.
Hello, welcome back to the channel where I have not one but two Unimogs. One is the ultimate implement carrier and the other is the ultimate off-roader. But here is how the Unimog story developed.
In the mid-1940s, a tractor was the farmer's essential tool. But with two-wheel drive and an exposed rear seat over the axle, while they were rugged, they were slow and basic, and if you wanted to take produce, well, you probably needed a trailer. German engineer Albert Friedrich looked to tear up that rulebook, and he did, with the Unimog 7200, which he first tested in 1946 and which went into production in 1948. In it, he made room for two occupants seated side by side, protected by a windscreen. He gave his machine four-wheel drive and portal axles. The track width was the same as two rows of potatoes, so the Unimog could be driven into fields. It had a power coupling for farming equipment and it could tow, but it also had its own load bay, and with 25 horsepower, even early Unimogs could reach 31 miles an hour, a speed no tractor of the day could match. By the early 1950s, it had gained the attention of Daimler-Benz, which bought production and slightly modified the Mog so it could be built in much greater numbers than hand-built early models. Its versatility meant it had already exceeded its agricultural ambitions. It had been bought by armies
I wonder if this is where G-Wagons actually started.
and put to use by utility and emergency services. But fundamentally, the 401 and 402 models made in the early 1950s were very true to the original's size and purpose. This is one.
Right, so one of these is kind of where it all started. This is a 401 model from 1956, and there's quite a lot of unmarked things in here. So this is the gear lever. The neutral plane is kind of on that sort of plane. It's.
I would have thought that was the. What? Nah, that's a handbrake.
Vague is a word that I would apply to it. I need to push this on, and then I've got a little glow plug. Two stage. I've got to wait for it to heat up a little. Make sure I am in neutral. If I start it in gear, I could be in trouble. Neutral's in there somewhere. Neutral is in here somewhere. Bear with me.
A few moments later. One hour later.
Keep bearing with me.
346 minutes later.
So that's first and second, I think. Look, while I'm dealing with that, there are other levers too. There's a handbrake lever here. There is a diff lock here. That puts me from front to reverse, and there's a power takeoff lever down here as well. In principle, that is not so different from the new Unimog you see behind me. There are three locking differentials. I've even got hand throttle here, so if I'm working in the field somewhere and my foot would be hitting up and down on the throttle, well, I can just set this hand throttle to a constant speed, so I don't have to worry about that. That is very clever. Right, I might start it with a clutch in, just to be on the safe side.
That thing kicking though. I was one of those. I'm sorry. But it's old. That thing went. That thing was ready to go. Hey, it sounds beautiful.
It also has a slightly sticky throttle, and I'm told the brakes are not all that. So I'm in a 70-year-old vehicle with a sticky throttle and no brakes. But it's very low here, so that shouldn't be a problem.
Much later.
There it is, there's neutral. Look, there's neutral. And that, I hope, is first. Let's find out. Oh, we're on.
Moving. That thing is small.
And that is not second. So that is first. Maybe I'll stick it first. So, I hope you can hear me.
It's pretty loud. I will not deny it. It's pretty loud.
The finishing of the modern Unimog is very different. It's a much larger vehicle, it's a much heavier vehicle, but the principles largely the same. There's an engine sort of between these. These days it's a bit further back. But there's an engine about here. I sit on top of it. The overhangs are absolutely tiny. It's four-wheel drive. There's a locking centre diff, a locking front diff, a locking rear differential. Power take-offs if you want it. Visibility is alright. As standard, this roof and also this back would not be here. These are from a series Land Rover, but they keep the rain off. Normally, as standard, it would have had a canvas roof and you could drop the windscreen right down. I must say, I'm rather enjoying. I mean, I'm moving at no miles an hour.
No.
Fine.
If this guy's German and people say Germans ain't got no humor, bro, come on, man. No miles an hour is crazy.
It's just so compact. Everything's got bigger, isn't it? The whole world, every machine we seem to deal with has got bigger in some way. Right, I'm going to try second gear. That is not second gear. Why is that not second gear?
One eternity later.
That is second gear. Oh, that's better. I'm positively cruising. It's a joy. I mean, it's got indicators, it's got air conditioning. What more could you want? Actually, it rides quite nicely. I can see the ground through the hole where the pedals go. But you know what? 1956. If the alternative to one of these was sitting right on the back of a tractor, over its back wheels, oh, there's no contest. This is just much more pleasant. Much more pleasant. And it really set the tone for the Unimog as it is today. It's an alternative to many agricultural vehicles. It's faster, it's more comfortable.
That's a lot of turn, bro. A man's like, that power steering ain't like, it's a very good invention. I'll tell you that. That man was like, bring that thing. Keep going, son. Keep going. That was hilarious.
Many agricultural vehicles. It's faster, it's more comfortable.
So much.
And while that might not exactly seem like it when you sort of see this, compare it to the alternative of the time in the same way that you compare the modern Unimog to the alternatives today.
By the time our 401 model was made, Daimler-Benz had already begun producing a larger sibling, the 404, made from 1955 all the way to 1980. In essence, it's more off-road truck than small agricultural vehicle, and the Unimog range kind of diverges at this point, with a small vehicle and a larger one on sale together, and that's still the same now. Popular with armed forces and utility companies, the bigger 404 also introduced a concept that still exists today, and which you'll see more of later: curved chassis rails connected by torque tubes, which lets the entire chassis flex to increase axle articulation. The 404 and its later derivatives also became popular as recreational off-roaders for fun or competition. Few, if any, four-wheeled vehicles could go further off-road. So after some time making what Unimog called light, medium or heavy series variants, producing the city implement carrier and even an MB track tractor, Versatility versus off-road ability is how Daimler Truck eventually decided to distinguish between its two very different types of Unimog. So as I showed you at the very start of the vid, today there is the UGE implement carrier, the useful vehicle that you might find servicing railways or clearing snow or mowing, and then there is the big one, the £200,000 extreme off-roader, the UHE.
Oh my gosh.
Welcome to the inside of the UHE, which I've got in clutchless mode. You can the inside of.
Hold on. Did my eyes deceive me? Or did I see that steering wheel went phew? Power steering. Look at that.
UHE, which I've got in clutchless mode. You can use the clutch if you want. With a gearbox you can put in manual or auto. It is in manual. I'm in second. You pull it up towards you to engage. To get a higher gear, and you push it away to get a lower gear.
Oh, really? Okay.
You know what? The ride is amazingly compliant, given the terrain we are going over. It really rounds off the edges. It helps the fact that the seats are isolated too.
Holy
I
shit.
don't know how much that down angle is, but all I can see is ground. It just sits about 1400 revs and just drags you nicely down. Peak torque's at 1100 revs, which is very little. I think it used to be higher before these engines were Euro 6 compliant. So we go over some moguls type things, which means 1 minute all you can see is a normal view, the next minute all you can see is ground. But it's a real test, I think, of the breakover angle. The thing about this thing underneath is that everything that spins, oh I should have, there we go. Everything that spins is within a torque tube. So if you hit the bottom of it, there's nothing spinning to hit, you're just hitting the bottom bit of metal, so you've just got to repaint it. All of the air lines, all the electric lines, all the pneumatic lines go over the top of those two. And because it runs portal axles, which means there's a gear in the axle itself, so the axle goes higher than the wheel centre, if you like, which gives it extra ground clearance. It also means the differentials can be a bit smaller as well, which is not the case with all of this car's rivals. And also that differential is slightly offset to one side, so it's not hanging in the middle. That actually increases ground clearance a little bit more as well. But the really clever bit, and this has been a principle since the Unimog was first designed, is that the chassis itself, as well as the suspension having tremendous movement, the chassis itself twists. It is designed to do it. And the body on the back is kind of mounted on a sort of separate subframe. You'll see it's just sort of mounted on a little B thing and supported on either side, which means whatever the chassis is doing, that load on the back isn't subject to any torsional changes itself, which if you're carrying sensitive electronic equipment, or you've got a big, these are pretty popular with firefighters, if you've got a 4,000 litre water tank on the back, it is quite important that those things don't flex, because they need to be tight and electrical equipment needs to be insulated, so whatever you've got stays. Lower gear. So we are now in first gear. Just crawls. It is extraordinary, this thing. I've never been in anything that goes off-road as capably as this. It is, and I'm not challenging it yet because I'm talking to you while an engineer driver by my side sort of just directs me where to go. Now there is a drop down there that I would not try if I was on my own. All you see is ground. This is extraordinary. This is such a cool thing. There's also a central sort of tyre pressure changing system, so you can change each tyre's pressure independently of each other. So on the road, I think that might be up to sort of 5 to 6 bar, but on really loose sand, that might go down to 1 or 2, 1.2 bar to 1.2 to 1.5 bar, something like that.
Okay.
I'm about to go through a ridiculously tight. Is this okay, or do I need to go back? So we've engaged. Oh, I've hit eco drive. How would I know it's turned off? So at the moment I've got 2.5 bar in the front tyres and 2.7 in the back. You can change it if you are, say, a firefighter and you're you're in a pretty awful predicament. You're fighting a forest fire. You happen to puncture one of your tyres or lose one of the tyres. What you can do is you can pump the other three up. The other three remain independent. You can drive out on 3 and then change the tyre where you want to. But I'm told overland campers quite like the idea that you can change them independently, because when they set up at night, some of them don't like to lie down at night in bed to find it's on an angle, so they can change the tyre pressure and level up the truck nicely. How thoughtful is that?
Okay, that's pretty cool.
I think I've turned the lights on, maybe they're automatic. This thing is an extraordinary piece of kit. I absolutely love it. There's a full feature on this over in Autocar Magazine 2, which you can get on digital subscription, or you can get in print, as the magazine has been published weekly since 1895. You can find us on all the socials as well. We've got an excellent podcast called My Week in Cars, which I commend to you. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.
Wow. That was pretty cool. I've never known that they're called Unimogs. I've actually seen this exact car repeatedly on German fire engines. Like, I've always seen them. Never thought that, because I remember always talking about how the articulation goes with the tires and the suspension of the German fire truck. I never thought to myself that this was what they're called. Unimogs. Holy shit. These cars are so insane. Like, they're really short. They're really short. But, like, they're made by Mercedes. I had no idea that, like, they seem very independent to the G-Wagon. They're not the same thing. I thought they were, but they're not. But they're pretty short. They're like, really, really highly capable vehicles that are quite small, if that makes any sense, but very big at the same time, because they're pretty high. But they're so cool. Like, I wish I had a purpose for one of these. The American in me was like, oh yeah, just get it either way, because you don't have to need it to have it. Anyways, but this car was pretty cool. Shout out to Fallsgruff for the recommendation. Fallsgruff for the recommendation. Shout out to you for the recommendation. This was a pretty chill and cool video to just learn about the Unimog. It's pretty cool. The old one was actually quite interesting. Compared to the new one, it was quite interesting. The old one was obviously very capable just as much. It's just that obviously it's old. It has a little bit of issues. It's hard to get into gears. It doesn't have power steering either, which is like gonna be really, really tough. But we're talking about 1950. 53? Is that what he said? 53 or something like that? But yeah, it's actually pretty badass. No denying the first version. But the second version is actually pretty common in Germany, actually. I recognize it from a lot of videos that I've checked out in the past. But yeah, nonetheless, thank you guys for watching this video. I'm out of here. Peace.